All right, we're back for the second part of this. All right, so continue what we were talking about. Um, what we just elaborated on with the calls and the penalties and the media side of it. Luke, what are your thoughts behind all that?
Well, I looked at some statistics while we were kind of waiting just to see, because I know the penalties thing is a big thing for the Chiefs. They don't, it seems like they avoid a lot of calls, but there were only three teams lower in calls than they were for the whole season. So maybe they are just well coached. So maybe they do get some calls, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to make up calls too. Like with as much video surveillance on the games and all the instant replay and everything. Like there's so many cameras present that it's really hard to fabricate calls. You know what I mean? So they are a good team. They've done well the past 4 years, made it to the playoffs every year. One of the top contenders, always in the hunt. Um, like y'all were saying earlier, up until really a couple of years ago, they he had so many weapons. You had a peak Travis Kelce. You had running backs that could keep a defense honest. You had receivers that were the fastest in the league. Like he just had a stacked team. And so they really are just that good. But you also can't deny, kind of like what Ryan was saying, that they get the calls. Like it was a handoff, the torch passed to them, and now they're kind of the untouchables. But like Ryan was saying too, I think the NFL is starting to get a little soft. We're also, I mean, is Patrick Mahomes really that good? Or is it because the NFL's basically made quarterbacks untouchable? Everything is shaded so hard to the offense that defenses are kind of like, okay, well, I can tackle him, maybe, but I can't lead with my head. I can't hold him too long. I can't put him on the ground. I can't roll over him. And all that stuff is just momentum. Like they're just making a tackle and the momentum carries them. And yet now they're going to be penalized for it. So, how do you keep a quarterback in check when you can't do anything?
Well, so the whole running thing, I feel like they talk about a defenseless receiver, and you know in college there was that Kenny Pickett when he was
Kenny
with
Pickett was.
Pittsburgh. He was running the ball against Tennessee, or not Tennessee. He was running the ball. He got about a 20-something yard run, and he goes to do that quarterback slide, and it was smooth. Like it was a top 10 play, I think. And as he's going down, he pops up. So the
Mm.
defense stops. For one, they thought he was down. Two, they thought he was going down, but his knee never touched, and he goes. This year, Patrick Mahomes is slowing down against the 49ers. He's going out of bounds, giving himself up, which is to me just like a baseball slide. You're giving yourself up, which means don't touch them. They're down from when they start the slide. He's going out of bounds. And then San Francisco slows up because you can't breathe on any quarterback nowadays. And
Mm.
then Patrick Mahomes, boom, right down the sideline, and he ends up getting like 20 more yards. That stuff's not fair. And I get
They
it.
are.
Quarterback is the main person on the team. And I get a quarterback can make or break something. Hence, look at the Indianapolis Colts when Peyton Manning went down. And who knows what would happen with the Chiefs. But the thing is, if they're going to become a runner and they start giving themselves up and you can't hit them like they are a running back,
It ought to be a
then
down.
yeah.
And I agree.
Like they should it
Anytime
should
a
be they're out of
quarterback,
bounds right there.
anytime a quarterback goes to make that slide, if it almost like when they're throwing a pass and as soon as their arm moves forward, it's now not a fumble, it's an incomplete pass if it hits the ground. It ought to be the same way. As soon, not when their knee touches the ground, not when they not when they actually slide. if they make a move to slide, you're down because that's not fair. Like if I'm a defender and I'm going to get penalized, I'm going to get a targeting call. I'm going to get unnecessary roughness. I'm going to get something called on me if I hit this quarterback. I'm not taking a chance on ruining my season, so I'm going to lay off. Well, it's not right for that quarterback to then pop up and keep going.
So talking about stats, we've talked about the last 2 years. The last 4 years of the NFL, they've increased the games from 16 to 17 games. Not going from his first year because he only played one game in 2017, but from 2018, the year that he went off and became a fantasy legend and had 50 touchdowns, he has only hit 40 touchdowns once. He's had 50, 26, 38, 37, 41, and the last 2 years, 27 and 26 touchdowns. The last 4 years, he's actually had double digits of interceptions of 13, 12, 14, and 11. His average per pass has went down. This was the first year that he did now, only by 72 yards, but his first year to not exceed over 4,000 yards. His lowest total before that was his second year when defenses kind of figured him out, and he still missed 2 games of the season. But like his quarterback rating has dropped. His lowest quarterback rating was 98.5. The last 2 years, 92.6 and 93.5. He doesn't have the big plays. His longest play this year was 54. And I'm pretty sure I saw that he was sacked for a career high because he had 36 sacks going into this game and or in going into the playoffs. And now he's in the 40 somethings. And in the playoffs, he's like even his completion percentage is low. In 21 and 22, his completion percentage was in the 70s. He had, 2019, 2021, double digits in touchdowns. He was averaging 3 touchdowns a game, for those 2 years. But like I said, it's just not the big play. The last 2 playoffs, he's a rating of over 100, which is really good. Now he played 4 games last year in the playoffs, and he had 1,000 yards for those 4 games. But I don't know, just season wise, like you said, it seems like he does well in the playoffs. The season though, like if it's the Tyreek Hill effect, then him losing Tyreek Hill is going from 5,200 yards down to 4,100 yards. Because he was averaging 47, 48, and 5,200 yards between 2000 and 2022.
I think it's like what you were talking about earlier. Like um, he's got a better defense and a weaker offense, so his numbers are going to drop. He doesn't have the weapons that he used to have. So I mean, we all know if you got a good running back, it opens up your pass game. And he's got decent running backs. He's got a guy who can do the job. Just nothing spectacular so far. I mean, I'm not saying he can't be, but it's not what he's known for. That's not their offense. They're not just a running defense or offense. They're mostly a passing offense. And so he just doesn't have the weapons anymore. And their defense is playing better. He doesn't have to outscore them anymore.
Well, I saw something on ESPN where they were comparing Mahomes. Is he more like Jordan or is he more like LeBron?
He's
Now,
definitely LeBron.
I would say that. Now, I felt like Jordan watching him play in the 90s. Like, he hacked a lot of people, just so they hope that he can get that steal and go down and do that cool dunk or whatever. And, but I don't know. Jordan just took over games and Jordan was just effective. Jordan,
Well,
like
not just that.
he was a killer, like he
He
was going to
was.
win. He was not going to He's undefeated in the finals. He never took his team to a game seven. He never let his team get to a game seven. And no telling what happens. And we've talked about this. If he didn't retire, there's no telling if he doesn't go 8 wins because a 7 seed or 6 seed Houston Rocket team wins. And then the Houston Rocket team is favored the next year and then Jordan came back and almost beat the Magic in the playoffs. So, like I said, there's no telling what would happen for him to win 3 more times. And then, if you watch the Last Dance thing and talking about the breakup of the Bulls, no telling how many more if they just kept the team together. But they just felt like they wanted to go in a different direction. Obviously, the Bulls haven't been the same since. But LeBron, people can. It's kind of like when people, my reference is, when people are complaining about stuff, I say they're falling from a tree and trying to grab every branch on the way down to save themselves. When people put some of these statistics out about LeBron, they're like, well, he's done this and he's done this and he did this by this age. I'm like, yeah, but Jordan was only in the league for 2 years. LeBron was already in it for 6. Like, you can't say that, and plus LeBron was just a high school talent when he was a freshman, where Jordan got cut his sophomore year, so LeBron didn't go to college. Jordan went for 3 years. So there's just some of those comparisons you just can't make. Like, we talked about the GOAT of the quarterbacks at one time. And I'll still say, Joe Montana's up there, and people can say, well, but Tom Brady holds all the Super Bowl records. Well, Joe Montana didn't go to that many Super Bowls. So you can't rate that. He still never threw an interception. If we want to compare like the records right now, can you compare a record when there's 17 games now? Roger Maris hit a home run in 162 games. Babe Ruth only did it in 158 or whatever it was. So can you really say that those records are real when they didn't do them in the amount of games? There's just like a lot of things you have to decide, and it's just frustrating when it doesn't seem like a game is fair. That it is just the whole. It could be media, and and what's funny is the bandwagon fans and the so-called Chief fans are the ones that totally deny it. I try to see everything right down the line as far as I can go. Last year, me being a 49ers fan, I did not like some of the calls. But dang it, you can't make a stop. You're in the Super Bowl with them 4 or 5 years ago. You're up by 10. You give up 21 points and lose by 11. Like, you give up 21 points in the fourth quarter. Eventually, you got to make a stop. And it's just frustrating with that being my team. Those things kind of happen. So it's not being, a poor loser or things like that. It's like, again, I don't have any problems with Mahomes. Don't have any problems with Andy Reid. I think he's funny. Uh, he's a good coach. People love him. They've obviously bought into that system. I say the same thing about Tony Vitello, and like all the Tennessee, coaches, Rick Barnes. People love him. They will do anything for him. So that's why I feel like that's a good system for the be in. But yeah, it's just getting to the point now where it's a he says, she says thing. Some people are going to say, well, what about all the calls that they didn't call that was against Kansas City? Well, that's true. But it seems like in certain moments, there are calls, like you can't say anything if they miss a kick. Or I know the Broncos missed a field goal to win the game back in the middle of the season, but so they could have won the game right there. And there's another team that could have won a game. And so it's like they always get the breaks too. That's another thing. They don't just get the penalties, but they always get those breaks. They're fixing to lose a game and something happens. And so that's just what's crazy to me, that they always get that side of it. the whole good luck, bad luck thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of coincidence if you believe in that, which I don't. So, I mean, you're right. They just get everything goes their way, especially in those close games. But it's not like the other team didn't play ball. They had the chance. And I hate that, there's a lot of high school basketball games that come down to one call or another. The ref makes a foul call that really wasn't, or they call travel when they didn't. And it's just one call. We Sheridan lost our girls. They lost against El Dorado by one because at the end of the game they inbounded. We had a chance to score, and the girl that caught the ball bounced it opposite off of one of the El Dorado girls' foot. It went away from her. 3 seconds left, and she lost it. But we had 4 quarters of that game to do something about it, to really pull away, and we didn't. And as much as I wanted the Bills to beat the Chiefs, they had 4 quarters to win, and they just couldn't break ahead. And you can't tell me that the whole game was so full of calls that they never gained momentum. So I don't think that there's a lot of talent on the Chiefs, and they won that game. Now there are some questionable things happening, and it should never come down to a ref making a call or missing a call that cost the players a game. It shouldn't. So maybe it
If,
does,
any,
or maybe it did, maybe it didn't.
if anything, you would almost think that the NFL would say like maybe for like a game or two, especially in crucial games, like don't do it. Take their minds off of it and everything. The only
Yeah.
hope we have right now, even though Randy, you hate the Eagles, the only hope we have right now is that Saquon Barkley is truly who he is, and he just runs them off the field.
If he does some back somersaults and some handsprings and stuff over some defenders, then I'll be fine.
Yeah. Now I kind of think too, and I could be totally wrong about this. Like when we talk about dynasty and everything, E3P, congratulations. I still will say at the end of the day that you have an asterisk beside that because of all of the quote unquote coincidences that happened that other, that Chiefs fans would say it's just a coincidence,
Well,
everything. But
I've already said, with the New England Patriots, if you think about college, Joe Paterno got in all that trouble. He was stripped of wins. Jeremy Pruitt for Tennessee. If you look at their record, 5 years ago or something, technically they have 2 games it looks like they played because of Jeremy Pruitt's illegal things and the players that played in certain games. All those wins were vacated. So you get in trouble and you lose wins. And I feel like if you have been, proven that you were doing stuff illegal, obviously, with the Patriots, being fined wasn't enough for them spygating because they decided, well, let's do something else. Let's deflate footballs. And 11 of the 12 that they used were deflated. So you're being like, there should be some punishment for that. So I feel like if this is proven, or it looks like it, there was refs that refed a Packers game, and something happened with some bad calls. They were proved, and I think they got banned or banned. I don't know. They got suspended or something for so long. There was the Arkansas Florida football game when Ryan Mallett was going against Tim Tebow. That Tim Tebow lands about 3 yards from the yellow first down marker. I get it. Yellow first down marker is not right, but they had to get to the 28 or whatever, and he got to the 25. They gave him a first down. There was a bunch of weird calls on, crazy minutes, so. And those refs, after looking at it, SEC officials or whoever looked at it, they suspended those refs. And I
yeah,
remember what I was going to say, because you had said something about some calls. The Kincaid throw where Josh Allen threw on the back of his foot. and Kincaid off balance could have made a catch right there in field goal range. Nance and Romo both said, "Oh, we got a flag." Flag disappears. The
Yeah,
little,
so I came
well, the little
across.
yellow marker disappears off, and then they said something about, well, what happened to the flag? Somebody said, I think it was some kind of sports journalist or something that was at the game, said, I saw the ref throw a flag. When Kincaid did not catch it, he went and picked up the flag. So somebody said, that's weird to me. And he threw it in the direction of where they were going to call holding. And it had been holding against Buffalo, which means the catch wouldn't have counted. But since he didn't catch it, let's pick up the flag. Is that true? Who knows? Who knows what was in that ref's thoughts? But I've heard numerous people say there was a flag on the field.
Oh,
You
there was a
know,
flag on the field. I
and
saw
he,
one person talking about
well,
it.
even the first down thing, that whole fourth down call. They asked old Territor, his thoughts, and he goes, "Oh yeah, he's got a first down. I'd give it to him." And then they don't give it to him. And I get it. One referee's opinion versus another, but it's just it is what it is. It's just a
Yeah.
lot of favorable things going those ways.
Yeah, like I saw someone talking about that today, and they thought it was going to be a legal formation. In both of those instances, in a holding call or a legal formation, they would have replayed the down. Like that's protocol. You replay the down and everything. And like that's just it's like you're not going to let them replay the down. Well, what would have happened if they replay the down? Who knows? A legal procedure had been fourth and 10. Because I think it was 4th and 5. And the holding call would have been what, 4th and 20 or 4th and 15 and everything. But it's like, oh, let's just pick up the flag because well, we got what we wanted. And again, that plays into conspiracy. Maybe there was something that was happening. Maybe there was an actual holding call. We've said it before. You can call a holding call just about every single play on any given part of the field. Let's say there was an illegal, not procedure, illegal formation, and everything. Maybe there was something like that and whatnot. But it just seems like you're ready to. It plays into the conspiracy that you're ready to throw the call, ready to throw the flag, no matter what. And then they didn't get it, so it's like, oh, well, we don't have to do it. Now, if they had thrown that flag and they actually kept going with it, I don't know. I don't know. It's just too much uncanny stuff keeps happening. And
Yeah.
honestly, if you're a Chiefs fan and you hear this and you want to argue about it, find me. I don't care. But it's not that it's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair to everybody else, but you it's not you should be ashamed of yourself for lighting, for wanting that to be the case. Like for being okay that your team keeps getting these lucky breaks, as you will, when everybody else is going. Even the announcers at this point, in these games are going, there's something not right here.
Yeah. All right.
Gosh, I hate them. I hate them so
Yeah.
much.
In the last 5 years, my team's 0-2 against them. So, and have had the lead late in the games. So that's
Well,
how I
my
feel about
team beat them this year, so there's that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is in all honesty, if we wanted to talk about lucky breaks, the Broncos should have been undefeated against them this year. They didn't actually. The Chiefs didn't do anything necessarily to win those games or win that first game. Bo Nix beat them. I don't care what you say. Bo Nix beat Patrick Mahomes. What happened is the left side of the offensive line on that field goal decided it was going to collapse, but he put them in position to win that game. And our rookie quarterback, honestly, I think has even though it's an asterisk and it doesn't actually count, but honestly, he outplayed Mahomes. And that's kind of my last thing to this whole thing. It's not about necessarily the Broncos, but I'm looking at this, like what the Patriots had going for them in their dynasty years is they were playing against a not good Jets team, a not good Bills team, and a not good Dolphins team. Like most of those years, those three teams just weren't very good. The Chiefs are about to play against, they're playing against 4 or 3 other future Hall of Fame head coaches now. In Sean Payton, oh, Raiders coach, Pete Carroll, and also the other Harbaugh. And all 3 of those guys are going to make it much more difficult for the Chiefs to continue their success like they have. And I'm not saying they won't have success, but they're going to make it as difficult as they can to continue that success because they all have young teams, they all have young quarterbacks. And I know, like for the Raiders, I don't like the Raiders either, but I know the Raiders have all the cap space in the world right now. And with Pete Carroll at the helm, I think they can rebuild that roster real quick. So, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we're gonna stop there. Just last couple things. Ryan, you gonna watch the game?
It just depends. I really don't want to. Like if there's like a party nearby to go to, I might come by. But if there's not a party nearby to go to where there's like finger food that I can just chow down on, I might not watch the game. I just I truly do hate that team. So I don't know if I want to be in the same. I haven't watched any of their games this year except the Broncos game playing the Chiefs the last time, and that was mostly because I knew who was going to win that game going into it.
Yeah.
Well, at least check out the commercials. They're definitely worth it.
It's kind of what I want to do.
I
Just
hope
get on
they're
YouTube.
I hope they're worth it. Luke, what about
Yeah.
you?
If it's a Mountain Dew Puppy Monkey Baby again, I'm boycotting Mountain Dew. Not that I drink it anyway, but still.
All
If y'all
right.
do something over there, I might come over. But if y'all aren't,
Okay.
if y'all aren't doing anything, then I'm probably just gonna stay at home and do something else.
And boycott
All right.
those Chiefs.
All right. Last little plug here. So my son's baseball team, they have their own little podcast. They get together like every week. It's 3 guys, their dads. They do a podcast called Dads After Dark. They just talk about stuff. They did a little independent wrestling thing in Little Rock. They've done some different little things where they've announced and done stuff like that. So if anybody's listening to this, give them a listen. They are on Facebook and YouTube, I believe, maybe another outlet. So if anybody's watching those, give them a shout out and appreciate for anybody listening. And Ron, thanks for joining. Luke, same to you. And we'll be trying to pick up our podcasts again, probably around Super Bowl time and talk about that game. Thanks for listening.